So I was wondering if you could tell me about the story of, at the donut shop.
At the donut shop?
Yeah.
That
Uncle Pat.
was probably it was in the early 1970s. Uncle Pat was still living in Olean, and he used to come home to Long Island on vacations and summertime. But we had a tradition since we were in high school of going to railroad shops and photography shops in Manhattan when he came home, especially around Christmas. So we had taken a Long Island Railroad in from Hempstead, and it was bitterly cold. It was a couple days after Christmas, and the wind was howling, and we had to walk from where Penn Station was, which is around 31st Street, all the way up to Midtown, where the model railroad shops were, which is around 47th Street. Mm-hmm. And we got about halfway there, and we were just absolutely freezing, and we'd been talking about finding someplace to get in out of the cold, to have some coffee and donuts somewhere.
Yep.
So we passed a chock full of nuts on our way uptown, and we went in there, and it took us a couple minutes to wait to order. And while we were waiting to order, there was a guy behind the counter mopping the floor with a mop. Didn't think anything of it. And finally the waitress came, and Pat was sitting first. And the waitress asked him what he wanted, and he said he would just have a cup of coffee, which was peculiar since he had never met a donut he didn't like. So I asked him if he wanted, aren't you going to have a donut? And he said, nah, just coffee. Whatever. So then Mom orders coffee and no donut. And I'm really puzzled now, because we've been talking about coffee and donuts since we left Penn Station. And I said, well, I'm having a donut and coffee. So we have the donut and coffee. They had their coffees, and we finally go out into the cold again. And I thought it was peculiar, but I got used to peculiar things when we did stuff with Pat. But as we're walking back uptown again, I see Mom and Pat every once in a while giving each other this side-eye look. And finally I said, what? And they denied anything, right? But I finally got them to fess up that while we were waiting to order the coffee and donuts, they both happened to see that there was a donut sitting on the floor behind the counter. And the guy came by with a mop, with the traditional dirty water to clean the floor with. And he sees the donut on the floor, and he picks it up, looks around puzzled, and puts it on a shelf behind the counter. About a minute later, the waitress comes by carrying somebody else's order. She does a double take, sees the donut on the shelf, and wondering why it's there. It's a puzzled look. She picks it up and puts it on a plate with the other donuts. They both saw this. I didn't. So they swore I did not get a floor donut. But I know they were lying to me. My supposed two best friends in the world.
Dad asked me if I wanted a donut. For all we knew,
Never know who you can trust.
for all we knew, every donut in that bin might have been on the floor at one point.
You suppose that would have been information worth sharing?
Cool. Thanks.